So there have been a lot of questions on the forum, and people have talked about wanting to get bigger size wheels on these Generation 1 Subarus, especially the Brats. And you see I have the later model aluminum wheels here. They're wider, and the problem is that the front ones, the inside of the wheel will rub on the parking brake mechanism, while the rear one, the tire will rub on the bumper stop. And you see how much smaller the original wheels are that come on it. So I've come up with a solution so we can get the later model mag wheels on here. So we get this off here. You can see what I've done is I've bought a 4-inch spacer made for the 6-lug bolt pattern for trucks, and originally it wouldn't fit the 4x140 pattern, so what I did is I just kind of put it up there, got on the back of here with a Sharpie and marked it for the other stud, pulled it off and drilled this hole. Then I used this one as a pattern by laying it on top of the others, did a dot in the middle, and just drilled them all. So with the front, the one 1/4-inch spacer is enough where the wheel passes by that caliper and the parking brake with no problem. On the back, you can see it turns fine. It's clearing this bumper stop that I'll show you here. See right here, this bumper stop is where it catches if you have it up against the hub. It rubs on the inside of the tire there. You can see I have 2 spacers on this one because it actually requires 3/8 of an inch. But I couldn't find any spacers that were 3/8 of an inch, so I took 2/4 and made a 1/2-inch spacer out of that and slipped them up on there. And on the rear, that's enough space to make it work. I may come back later and grind a little bit of this off just to use 1 spacer, but probably not because this seems to be fine. The only problem then was seeing that the original studs weren't long enough. You were losing so much thread. So I did a little bit of research and found out that the Baja, Subaru Baja studs were almost exactly the same thickness as the Brat studs. So I bought Baja studs, and I'm going to tell you, on the other wheel studs I've ever had to replace, I could just put washers on there and then use the lug nut to pull it through and seat it. On these, they're just very slightly wider, so that didn't work. You can see, you noticed I only had 3 lug nuts on the front. And that's because it strips them off. It's just too much pressure to pull. So what I used was a press, a ball joint press. Looks like a big C-clamp, and I press these in. So I'm going to have to get one more stud, but I've used these Baja studs so that there's enough thread to catch that lug nut and hold it on there pretty safely. And you see that's what the unthreaded part there is from. So anyway, there you go. If you're wanting to put on later model mag wheels like that came on some of the GL10s, 85 and later models maybe, that's a pretty good solution. Much safer than just using washers stacked against.